Blockchain security. No one really understands this. Everyone talk about the different security levels of proof of stake, proof of work, and you say, okay, I don't know what you're talking about, only nerds know. But I am Don Kryptonium. I'm the man just like you, and this is why I'm coming to you and try to explain to you how Babylon chain works, bringing Bitcoin security to proof of stake chains. Why is it important? Why proof of stake chains need Bitcoin security, or maybe they don't? But before we start, make sure to hit the like button because it helps Don Kryptonium. How? Well, I see your support. I see it's worth to continue making this video. So let's start. This video is difficult for me to make because I barely understand things, and I'm going to the internet and I'm trying to understand just like you. You know, there's two models in crypto. Well, maybe there's a few more, but two main models. One is proof of work consensus, which is slow and costly, but very secure. And you will know why it's secure. And there's also proof of stake model that is not costly and it's very efficient, it's very fast, but it lacks the same level of security as proof of work. And here we come to the question, nothing at stake. Okay, nothing at stake, it means there is nothing to lose. It's not costly. So we know that proof of work is not cost effective, right? It's a bug, but it's also a feature. You know, for miner, it's expensive to produce new blocks, to mine new blocks. So if the fork would happen, the miner will have to choose the correct block, because he's literally disincentivized to mine forks and waste money for nothing. But with proof of stake systems, they're so cheap that those validators, you can call them miners of new blocks, whatever, those validators produce blocks at very low cost. So when you have the forks, they're actually incentivized to do it in case it brings them benefit, because it doesn't cost them anything to do so. But it brings the issues. And you are going to learn about those issues. You would maybe think, hey, it doesn't make sense. You know, the validators could choose the original chain, right? Do not mine on the forks. But if one of the forks become longer and become the main one, the validators will not make any rewards from the original one. So in this case, they're actually incentivized to validate blocks on each of the forks. I hope it makes total sense, you know. So if one of the forks become longer, it becomes actually dominant here and they are still earning rewards. So this is why validators will not choose just one, because they could be eliminated from making profits. This creates the double spend attacks possible. You would say, yeah, but those who do the double spend will get slashed, okay? Yeah, this is why we have this, you know, long onboarding period, but those long onboarding period is not perfect for you. You are not staying liquid. So obviously it doesn't make sense to secure each small transaction, and David gave great example when he was on my channel. David is the co-founder of Babylon. You know, when you do small bank transfer, it goes at the instant. But if you were to send huge transfer, maybe $100 million, the bank will question this and they will come, Mr. Jason, is it really you sending this transaction? Did you make mistake? This is a very big number, you know. It seems odd. We just want to verify, and they verify and then transaction goes. So this would be similarly how this security would work on the Cosmos chains. So here is the example of double spend. Imagine John, who has the rug pool blockchain, right? And he deposit 1 million rug tokens to Osmosis and swap them to 10,000 Osmosis, because that's the current worth of this token right now. And then he withdraws it and has 10,000 Osmosis, which is $10,000. For some match, for some not. But you know, there is the problem, because John is founder of this rug pool token. So he thinks to himself, hey, I'm going to create the alternative reality. I'm going to fork this chain because I have a lot of tokens, and the history will be, I will never send on this new fork tokens to Osmosis. How is it possible? Because he has a lot of token stake. So he will be able to be more likely chosen as the validator to actually approve this malicious fork. So he will be verifying these transactions, right? And now, with that, on this fork, there is no information that he ever sent those tokens to Osmo. So now, John lives with 10,000 Osmo, and also, but on the native chain, there is not such history. So he was getting tokens for free. So yeah, he did 2 transactions, right? He did 1 transaction that went to Osmo and 1 that didn't. And he would normally get slashed for doing this. But if the Osmo tokens are worth more than slashing, he actually still left with benefit here. So now I'm going to read just a little bit for you, and why we have such unbonding periods. And I hope it makes actually obvious for you, because if the unbonding would be instant, those big actors could create malicious fork, and there is the problem because they would create the double signs, and exploit the chains. We would have actually a lot of exploits. So this is why we need this long unbonding period. So here is the figure, right? This is the validators. Understand, this is the validators, and it shows you the canonical chain. Old validators are shown in dark green. So this is the original chain validators, and the new ones are shown in blue. Upon withdrawing their stake, the old dark green validators are replaced with the new ones because they are gone. So now figure 2. Long-range attack on the canonical chain. After withdrawing their stake, those validators, the founders of the chain, are corrupted. Then they build a conflicting chain, so the second chain that I gave you example, that forks from the original chain past block. So they continue produce blocks on the new fake chain. On the conflicting chain, they create new purple set of validators that are under adversary controls. They controls. These 2 chains look exactly the same to the people who use that, and then when the exploits can happen. So I don't want to go too long ahead because I don't want to make this confusing. So with Babylon, these long unbonding periods will not be necessary, and we might go down even to 1 day. So Babylon will be on the one to doing it between Babylon and Bitcoin. And then those, let's call them consumer chains, will be sending IBC transaction to Babylon, and I believe Babylon will be verifying this as the one batch transaction, which is cost effective. I heard David says it only costs $10,000 a year, which is extremely cheap, but also it brings me a question: where is the economical value of Babylon coming? Will Babylon be charging those chains on top to actually become profitable? Because people like profits, people like money. So I want to explore this part a little bit more. There's other concept that was stating that liquid staking will not be necessary then. I want to tell you, forget about this theory. Liquid staking will be used because people love using derivatives, and it's not only about security. People in crypto like to chase money, and derivatives allow them to chase this money. They can use derivatives, they can loop it in DeFi protocol, and they can essentially leverage the smaller position to have bigger position. Imagine someone has 100 atoms, turn it into liquid stake atoms, borrow against them, and still earn yield on 100 atoms, staked atoms, borrow 70 atoms in total, buy liquid staked atoms, provide more. So with that, maybe person who own initially 100 atoms could have 300 atoms and earn the yield on 300 atoms, but also facing the danger of getting liquidated. So despite dangers, people love to chase money. This is why liquid staking would not be eliminated. Let me know if this explanation of Babylon was bearable. I'm trying my best. It's also difficult for me. I'm just like you. Retail. Small brain. Don Cryptoniums out. Till the next time.